Hi, everyone who's already here. There's just a couple more minutes before we get started, and I'm going to wait for a few more people to join, and then we'll get started as soon as everybody's here. Thanks. All right, so I'm going to get started. So hi, everyone. My name is Sophie, and I'm part of the customer success team based in Toronto. Thank you for taking the time to join us for today's introductory webinar. During today's webinar, you will learn how Umapped is helping leading global brands and travel advisors engage with their customers throughout their entire travel journey. By using our collaborative experience platform, you can deliver interactive, branded, consolidated mobile proposals and itineraries with relevant content and messaging for your clients. You'll also see how the platform maximizes productivity and streamlines your business workflow. During today's 35-minute webinar, we'll start with an overview of the client experience, taking a look at how your clients will receive and view their trips online via the mobile app and as a PDF. Next, we'll demo Umapped's online trip building platform for travel professionals, which is called Trip Publisher. And we'll finish today's webinar with a review of the training resources and the support available to you, and making sure to save some time for a live Q&A. Before we begin, I want to make sure that you have access to a complimentary trial. If you haven't already signed up for a trial, visit umapped.com/trial. Click on the Sign Up button located at the top right corner of the page and complete the trial form. After submitting your request, our customer success team will send you a confirmation email with your account credentials and all of your login instructions. So let's begin our live demo by reviewing the client experience. When your clients' trips are ready, their trips are delivered by email and are available in 3 formats. Clients can access their trips online, as a PDF, and via the Umapped mobile app. All formats of the trip are branded for you and include your company logo and contact details. This is an example of the email your clients will receive, giving them access to their trip. Your branding and contact details will be displayed at the bottom of the email, just below the View Your Trip button. This email is all your clients need to access their trip. They can click on the View Your Trip button to access the web view of their trip, as well as the trip PDF. Or click on the App Store or Google Play Store icons to download the Umapped mobile app. Let's start by taking a look at the web view. The View Your Trip button opens a dynamic trip link that can be bookmarked and accessed at any time. When your clients are accessing the web view for the first time, they will need to enter their email address to validate that they are the traveler on this trip. So let's go ahead and add mine in. The first thing your clients will see in their day-by-day itinerary is your branding right at the top. Your branding and contact information is displayed front and center. There is also a download button for the trip PDF, and there are two versions, a full PDF or a print-friendly option without any images. I'm going to download the PDF and then come back to it in a few moments. Your clients can view their day-by-day trip details and any important information that you have included in their trip. The amount of details or information in the trip is always based on your clients and the type of trip. All of the photos that are displayed here have been added from one of the many image libraries available in the trip publisher. We have hotel and cruise photos preloaded for many properties and cruise lines, as well as a photo library licensed for commercial reuse that are available. Also note this chat icon, which displays on trip segments. This is the messenger feature. When enabled, it allows for real-time chat and notifications, which your clients can access on the web and mobile app trip views. When your clients chat with you using the messenger, you will receive an email notification and can reply directly from your email. You can also access chat messages from the trip publisher. Your reply will display into the chat window. This is also where your clients will receive any day of flight notifications. You will notice the blue plus button located at the bottom right corner of this page. This is the traveler collaboration feature that is available for both the web view as well as the mobile app. This allows your clients to build and personalize their trip details with information including dinner reservations, trip notes, and any other activities that they have booked on their own. While they cannot edit or delete any of the segments that you have added, it allows your clients to consolidate all of their information in one place with one consolidated view of their trip. Now, if we look at the header right here, the Documents tab is where any supporting documentation for the trip is available. This can include PDF attachments like vouchers and e-tickets, destination content, and any other important travel information that your clients may need to reference. Beside that, the trip map will pinpoint all of the destinations your clients are traveling to. And there is also a trip calendar where clients can view all of the trip details on a calendar view, with the option to sync to their personal Google Calendar, iCal, or Outlook calendar by selecting this button that says Add to Calendar in the right-hand corner. The web view is mobile responsive and will resize to fit to the device that your client is using, whether on a phone, tablet, or desktop. Now moving on to the PDF. The PDF provides a printable option for your customers who still prefer paper. There are 4 different design templates that you can select from in your preferences in the trip publisher, but we'll show that later. Now I'm just going to switch to my mobile simulator. So your clients have the option to download the Umapped mobile app from either the App Store or the Google Play Store, so that they can view their trip on their smartphones while they're on the go or in destination. One of the great benefits of the mobile app is that trip details are available even when your client's phone is offline, meaning when there's no Wi-Fi and no network connection. Additionally, if we go into one of the segments, they can view live weather reporting and access directions. So let's open this right here. So I've opened my Crown Plaza St. Pierre, and you can see the directions and live weather within each of the segments. Again, if we go back, you will notice branding and contact details are always displayed at the top. Now that you can see what your clients will receive, I'm going to show you around the trip publisher, Umapped's trip building application for travel professionals. Just a moment. There. This is where you can build and edit proposals and itineraries. To log in, go to pub-trip.umapped.com/login and be sure to bookmark this link for future visits. Once you are logged in, you will be taken to your dashboard. On the bottom left is where your account details will be displayed. If you click on your user details, a drop-down will appear and display My Account, Preferences, Plans, and Logout. For new users, I suggest selecting My Account to update your user profile information, as these are the details which are displayed in the client experience. This is also where you can change your password if you go towards the bottom, so in between Upload Profile Picture and Save. If you click on your preferences, this is where you can update your account preferences. And that includes such things as the traveler collaboration feature that we mentioned earlier, the traveler messaging, and if you look at the top here under PDF preferences, selecting a different layout type will also change the way the PDF that I showed before will appear to your clients. So you have a variety of different options here. On your dashboard, you can view all of the trips that you've created within My Trips. Your dashboard is also where you can search and access all of your trips. Depending on your plan type, you may be able to view all of the trips that have been created by your company by selecting Company Trips. By selecting the filter icon at the top right corner beside Create Trip, you'll be able to, it gives you the option to filter for your active, future, and past dated trips, as well as pending and published trips. If we look beside Dashboard, the vendor and library tabs are covered in more advanced webinars and allow you to save profiles for various suppliers, as well as content for guides and other templated notes. And I would also like to highlight the Support portal. By clicking on Support, you can gain access to our online knowledge portal or send questions to our customer success team. So let's go back to our dashboard and let's click the Create Trip button at the top right corner of the dashboard to start the trip building process. So first, start by entering a name for your trip as well as the travel start and end dates. So I'm going to go with European Adventure for the Smiths with the start date of the 1st of October until the 13th. You also have the option to add trip tags, which is a great way to apply personal labels to your trips so that you can easily search for them on your dashboard. Which means that if I work frequently with the Smith family, I can tag this as Smith and Europe or whatever else I'd like. Click Create Trip to save this new trip. On the main page of your trip, you will see a large gray thumbnail image. Click on this image to add your cover photo. We always recommend adding a cover photo as this is the background image that displays in the traveler email, as well as in the different formats of the client experience that we just reviewed. So there are a few different options for adding a photo. The first is by searching the image library. This is a free library of licensed images that is available to all users. The second is by searching the web, or you can upload your own photo. For our sample today, we'll search the web by entering a keyword. So I'm going to write Barcelona. And then I'm going to search unsplash.com, which offers many free for commercial use photos. So we just need to select a photo. So let's select this one and then select Upload Photo. And it'll now appear in the cover photo. There we go. In today's demo, I'm going to highlight how you can easily consolidate bookings from a variety of integrated systems, such as Sabre and Clientbase, as well as how to import from partnered suppliers. We'll also demo how to create your own trip segments, and finally, how to share or send a trip to your traveler. So let's start by exploring this left-hand navigation menu over here. Import bookings is where you can access the different system integrations available. This is where you can import your GDS PNRs, your client-based res cards, and access any booking confirmation emails that you have forwarded into the trip publisher. You can also import from Sabre Tripcase, Travelport, and WorldSpan by selecting PNR Import, which is right next to Booking Inbox. If you use Sabre, we have a direct integration that allows you to queue your PNRs to the trip publisher. Your PNRs can be retrieved from the booking inbox and then added to any trip. Here's how it works. I'm going to add my sample PNR in the keyword box and click Search. You can select the drop-down arrow to view details of the PNR, And then select this ellipses right here, the 3 vertical dots, and click Add to Trip. This PNR contains flights and accommodations only, but anything that has been booked in Sabre will be imported, formatted, and then ordered chronologically. The best part of this integration with Sabre is that anytime you make a change to the PNR in Sabre, all you need to do is re-queue it to the trip publisher, and your trip will automatically update. If you need to view or edit information within a specific segment, click on this View Details button at the bottom left right-hand corner of the segment. A right drawer will open, and you can now view all of the segment information. In this flight segment, I can click on the passenger details in order to view more information about my passengers. And when hovering over the top right corner, I can click on the pencil icon if I need to edit anything, or the trash icon if I need to delete anything. So let's go back to import bookings. The client-based integration is a very similar workflow. Your res cards are also accessible via the booking inbox, and all you need to do is enter the res card number in the same keyword field, and then click search, and then follow the same steps as demonstrated when adding my Sabre PNR. For both the Sabre and client-based integrations, there is an initial setup that is required. If you want to learn more about how to get this set up for your company, please contact our customer success team for further information following this webinar. If you use Apollo, Galileo, or WorldSpan, you can import your PNRs by entering the PNR and the lead passenger last name, and then clicking Import. It is important to note that this is not a direct integration to your GDS, and PNRs imported via this method will not automatically update when there are changes. At any point, if you need to go back to your trip, you just simply need to select Trip on the left-hand side, and it will bring you back into your trip. So let's continue looking at some of the options in this left-hand navigation menu, going with suppliers. So suppliers is where you can import bookings or content from a list of partnered tour operators or DMCs. How each integration works varies slightly by supplier. So we'll use Insight Vacation for today's example. Simply enter a destination or the name of the tour itinerary. So I'm going to key in London, and then click on Search. All of the tours that match your search will be displayed, and then from there you can view the tour details by selecting Details, and you can click Import to add the tour to your trip if you feel like it is the right tour for you. For some suppliers, such as Classic Vacations, you will be required to enter your username, password, and your client's booking reference number in order to import their trip details. So let's close that and move on to destination content. Umapped is partnered with AFAR and W Cities, giving you access to curated guides and recommendations for over 500 destinations around the world. For AFAR, you can either add destination guides or specific recommendations. Select from the list of trip destinations or click Search by City Names to enter a destination. I'm going to select London and then click on Search. From here, select a date and then click Add to Trip. I prefer to always add these larger destination guides towards the end of my trip, so I'm going to select October 13th and then click Add to Trip. For W Cities, select the destination and content type from the source drop-down menu. So I'm going to click on Barcelona and then click Search. Select the checkbox to the right of the content that you wish to include. So I'm going to add a city blur and then click Add to Trip. And then again, you can choose what date you'd like to put it on. So I'm going to choose the 5th of October this time, and then click Add to Trip again in order for it to be within your trip. There are several different ways that you can attach PDF, Word, or library documents to a trip. The first is by selecting supporting documents from this left-hand navigation menu. Select File Attachments, and then click Attach File. I'm going to add, let's see, a sample voucher. A sample voucher. And then I'm going to click Attach File. If you need to preview or remove your document, click on this ellipses, which is the 3 vertical dots, and it'll give you your options. You can create, store, and manage your own content within your library. For our sample today, I will add a city guide for Barcelona previously created within my company by clicking the Add Document button and then keying in Barcelona into the keyword search. From there, simply select the document and then click Add Document. You can also add a supporting document right from within your trip page so that your clients can easily access when viewing their trip in both web and mobile. I'll select Trip to head back to the main page. And then, let's say for this booking right here for the Lanesborough, I'm going to click View Details for the particular segment. And then at the very bottom, I'm going to select Attach File on the bottom right side of the drawer. And then I'm going to select Upload a File. From there, I can add any files that I'd like. Today I'm going to add an e-ticket and then click Attach File. Once you've added your document, you can select Files again and hover over the bottom right to preview or delete your document. So let's say I want to preview. It'll open up another page, and from there you can preview your document. Going back to the left-hand navigation menu, click on Calendar for a calendar view of the trip. And below that, Trip Settings is where you can view and edit trip details. Select the ellipses to edit trip information, duplicate your trip, or delete your trip. And beside trip details, the audit log is where you can view a history of actions for a particular trip. So let's head back to our main page and let's start creating our own segments. So on the bottom right corner of the trip, you can click the blue plus button to create your own segments, add cruise content, and trip notes. We have thousands of vendor profiles within Trip Publisher for accommodations and cruises that include photos, addresses, and contact information. So let's start by adding a hotel in Rome. Select accommodation from the blue plus button and then search for your hotel. I'm going to add the Rome Cavalieri Waldorf Astoria from October 7th to the 13th. This hotel already has a vendor profile created that includes information about the hotel and, as you can see, photos of the property. Simply add your check-in and check-out dates and times. So I'm going to say 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. and then click on Add to Trip. There we go. To add a cruise, this is a very similar workflow. Simply click the blue plus button and then select Cruise. Enter the ship name and the sailing month and year, and then click the Find Cruise button in the bottom right-hand corner. So I'm going to search for the Norwegian Epic, October of 2019, and then click Find Cruises. So pick your cruise itinerary, sailing date, and then select Add Cruise. And you can even, by selecting this drop-down arrow, look at the entire itinerary for that cruise. Going back to the blue plus button, you can also add a trip note, which is the penultimate button right over here. This feature allows you to add customized notes for your clients that include detailed links, photos, and embedded videos. For our sample trip, I will add a bon voyage message for my clients. So from that blue plus button, select Note and add a title. So I'm going to write, have a fantastic trip. And then dates and times are optional depending on the note that you're adding, so you don't need to add those if you didn't want to. And then details are mandatory, so I'm going to add some details. And then this little note bound here that says hide note, you can select hide note if you want to make the note internal for you or someone that you are collaborating on the trip with. These private notes are only available in the trip publisher, so they won't appear in the PDF or the web view for your clients. And then we're going to click add to trip to add this note to my trip. At any time during the trip building process, you have the opportunity to publish a trip by selecting the Publish button on the top right side of the page. Once a trip is published, it is live and all formats of the client experience will be available, meaning the web, PDF, and mobile version. Just want to highlight that, just to let you know that once you've published a trip, you cannot unpublish it. So if you aren't sure yet if you'd like to send your trip out to your clients, we suggest leaving travelers until you've fully completed your trip before adding them, as anytime you publish a trip when they've been added, they will automatically get an email. So when publishing, you have the option to leave a note that will be displayed in the traveler email, or you can go ahead and just publish the trip. This trip is dynamic, so you always have the option to make any edits or changes. If there are any significant updates, always remember to republish the trip by selecting the same button in the top right side, so that changes will be reflected on your client's view. You'll also notice underneath the cover photo a variety of different icons that are next to the trip date and name. You can click the share icon located at the top of the trip to invite collaborators and to add your travelers' emails. You can invite a collaborator or add your traveler by selecting this icon. The collaborator feature allows you to share your trip with other travel professionals, such as suppliers, DMCs, vendors, and tour operators. So I'm going to select the share icon, but then also click travelers. This is what will bring you to your traveler page. From here, you can click the add traveler button and then add your client's details. So their email address, their first and last name, and then once that's all added, let me just do that very quickly. You select add traveler. Once you have added your traveler, your clients will receive a personalized branded email, such as the one I showed at the beginning of this webinar, with all of the information they need to access their trip. You can also, let's go back to the trip and look at the other icons. If you would like to see at any point what your travelers are going to receive, you can select this preview icon right here in order to see the PDF or the web view. And then beside that, you can click on the pencil icon to further edit your trip name and dates. So we have reviewed various versions of the client experience, including the web, PDF, and mobile versions, highlighting some benefits and features for the clients, as well as how to build a trip in the new trip publisher experience. Reviewing popular integrations throughout our trip building process like Sabre, client base, suppliers, as well as destination and cruise content and vendor profiles. You should now be familiar with how to create a trip, but we also have some tools that will help you along the way. Our support portal is where you can access a getting started guide, as well as step-by-step tutorials for all of the integrations and the features that we covered today. We also encourage you to sign up for our live Q&A session that is hosted bi-weekly, meaning every Tuesday and Thursday, by our customer success team, as well as more advanced webinars which dive deeper into trip publisher features. If you have any suggestions for future topics that you would like to see covered, please email support@umapped.com. I'll also be sharing a recording of today's webinar so you can review this again on your own time. So for anybody who can't stay through the Q&A, I just want to say thank you for joining us for today's introductory webinar. And as I said, I'll be reaching out to all of you with a follow-up with this recording, as well as some resources in order for you to get started building your itineraries in the trip publisher. Now I'm going to leave a couple of minutes just for any questions, and then we'll go over some other features of the trip publisher. Yes. For the technical difficulties from Zaveda, yes, I'm going to be sending a link with a recording of this particular webinar, as well as some resources. And if you have any specific questions, feel free to reach out to us at support and we'll give you any information that you need. No problem. All right, so if there are no questions just yet, what I think I'll show you guys is how to reorder segments within a trip. So let's say that you've decided that this note you would like to see at the bottom of your trip or in the middle of the trip rather than right at the top for whatever reason. There are a few different ways in order for this to happen. So if I click on the View Details button in that trip segment, there's a little calendar icon right next to the title, and this will go for most all of the other segment types. So if I select Change Calendar, I can choose a new date that I could put my trip note or any segment on. So let's move it to the 10th and then click Add to Trip. And as you can see, it's no longer at the top of my trip. And if I scroll down, let's look, it's now on October 10th to where I moved it. Another way that you can move segments is by clicking the calendar option from the left-hand navigation menu and actually dragging and dropping that segment that you wish to move onto another date. Second, let's do this. Oh, there we go. It's strange. All right, so see, you can move them around to anywhere that you'd like. So if I look now, the Rome Cavalieri, which usually had started on the 7th, I'll go back to my trip, is now on the 1st. And that'll be reflected within the trip check-in and check-out times as well, as you can see when I click View Details. Ta-da. And for trips that are, for segments that are within the same day, if I click on Trip and go back into my trip, I can actually physically grab that segment and move it. So I'm going to drag the Lanesborough to just above British Airways. And as you can see, it's reordered, and now this hotel segment is before my British Airways segment. So that's just a couple of different ways that you can move bookings around in case you ever decide that a note or a city guide needs to be moved somewhere else in your trip without having to physically go into the segment and change the dates. All right, and are there any questions other than that? There are no other questions, but I'm just going to show one last thing just to add a little bit of extra oomph. If you go within your library, so here you can see in my library, there's already a variety of different documents that have been made within my company. So if you've already made a document and added some pages within your library, these can be added within your trip itself. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard, click on the trip that I want to add one of the pages from my documents, and then we're going to go to Destination Content. And I don't know if you noticed during our webinar, but beside the W Cities guides, there's an option to add from your library. From here, I can key in any keyword that I might have. So I'm going to search up all of the documents and pages with Barcelona, click Search, and these are all of the pages within my library that include the keyword Barcelona. So if I decide that I want to add the Sagrada Familia Cathedral page to my trip, I just need to select Copy from the right-hand side, and it's automatically been added to my trip. Doing this will always have the page be copied at the top of your trip, but as I showed previously, there's a variety of different ways to move that. So let's say I want to move the page that I just copied to the middle of my trip because I'm going to be in Barcelona around the 5th. I'm going to click this calendar icon and then select the 5th and then click Add to Trip. And that's moved that page from my documents to another place within my trip. Just a second. Mackenzie, can you upload more than one picture at a time? At the moment, you can only upload a single photo at a time, so I'll show by going into this segment for the Rome Cavaliere. I'm going to click the photo icon, and then right here, that's where you add a photo, and as with the cover photo, there's those 3 ways to add a photo: search photo library, search the web, or upload, but you can only upload 1 photo at a time. So I'm going to write in Rome, just because I don't know if the Rome Cavaliere has any photos in the Wikimedia library. So this is just a sample. So I'm going to click my photo, and then I click the upload photo to add that. But yeah, only 1 at a time at the moment. If there are any updates on that, we'll definitely reach out to people. All right. Someone raised their hand. Are there any more questions before we finish today's webinar? All right, so it doesn't look like there's any more questions, but as I said, I'll be sending a recording of today's webinar as well as a variety of links to different kinds of support and solutions to get you started building your first trips in the Trip Publisher. And if you have any specific questions that come to mind later, do not hesitate to reach out to us at support@umapped.com. We're available from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're very quick to answer any questions. So thank you again for joining us today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll be reaching out to all of you very soon. Thank you so much.